Have you ever felt disgusted with yourself? Not with what you did, but with who you have become? Have you looked in the mirror and recognized a stranger, someone who has compromised so many times that you can no longer remember what you actually wanted? Maybe you have spent years being reasonable, being agreeable, being what others expected, and now you wake up hollow, resentful, wondering when you became so small. You tell yourself it is maturity, that growing up means letting go of who you were, that responsibility requires sacrifice, that this quiet desperation is just what adult life feels like. But deep down, you know the truth. You're not living, you are hiding. You have betrayed yourself so many times that you no longer recognize betrayal. You call it compromise, you call it being realistic, you call it wisdom, but it is cowardice. And the worst part? You're so tired. Tired of pretending, tired of performing, tired of being less than what you are because the world cannot handle what you actually are. You have dulled your edges to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You have silenced your voice because it made others uncomfortable. You have made yourself acceptable, and in doing so, you have made yourself miserable. But let me tell you something that no one else will say. The version of you that is suffering right now is not the real you. It is a constructed self, built from fear, from guilt, from the desperate need to be loved by people who do not even know you. And as long as you keep protecting this false self, you will remain trapped in a life that feels like slow death. Friedrich Nietzsche understood this better than anyone. He saw that most people are not living their own lives. They are living the lives that were programmed into them by religion, by society, by morality systems designed to make them obedient, not free. He said, "You have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist. But you keep searching for it, don't you? The right way to live. The correct way to be, the path that will earn you approval. If you have made it this far, it is because something inside you is screaming to break free. This video is for you who are done with living a borrowed life, for you who are ready to stop being a shadow of what you could be. But I will tell you now, what comes next will destroy the comfortable lies you have been telling yourself. And only after that destruction can you begin to create something real. Let's begin. You think you have chosen your values, your beliefs, your way of life. But have you? Or did you simply inherit them? Did you adopt them because everyone around you believed them? Did you accept them because rejecting them felt too dangerous, too lonely, too uncertain? Nietzsche called this the herd mentality, and he saw it as the greatest threat to human vitality. You're not an individual. You're a collection of other people's opinions, fears, and judgments wearing your skin. You think the thoughts you were taught to think. You feel guilty about things you were conditioned to feel guilty about. You pursue goals that were never yours to begin with. And the most insidious part? You believe this is you. You have identified so completely with this programmed self that you defend it. You protect it. You feel attacked when someone challenges these borrowed beliefs because you think they are challenging you. But they are not you. They never were. Nietzsche wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. But you are not willing to pay that price, are you? You would rather belong than be free. You would rather be accepted than be authentic. You would rather live a comfortable lie than an uncomfortable truth. This is what Nietzsche called slave morality, a value system built on resentment, guilt, and the suppression of life itself. It tells you that your desires are selfish, that your ambition is wrong, that your power should be hidden, that your vitality should be tamed. It teaches you to be small, to be humble, to deny yourself, and to call this denial virtue. And you have swallowed this completely. Every time you silence your truth because it might upset someone, you are practicing slave morality. Every time you diminish yourself to make others comfortable, you are choosing the herd over yourself. Every time you feel guilty for wanting more, for being more, for refusing to accept less, you're living by a value system designed to keep you weak. But here is what no one tells you. That guilt you feel, It is not your conscience, it is your conditioning. That shame, it is not proof that you did something wrong. It is proof that you were taught to be ashamed of your own life force. That fear of being too much, it is not wisdom. It is the voice of everyone who needed you to be less so they could feel like more. Nietzsche saw that authentic morality does not come from obedience, it comes from creation. You do not find your values, you create them. You do not discover who you are, you decide who you are, and this act of self-creation, this refusal to accept prepackaged meaning, this willingness to stand alone in your own truth, this is what he called the will to power. But you are terrified of your own power, aren't you? Because power means responsibility. Power means standing alone. Power means that you can no longer blame your circumstances, your past, your parents, your trauma. Power means you must create yourself, and that is the most terrifying burden of all. This is what we will explore next. What it truly means to create yourself, to become who you are, and why this process requires you to destroy everything you thought you were. Let's continue deeper. If this is resonating with you, subscribe to this channel. Support the creation of content that refuses to make you comfortable. Nietzsche wrote, "Become who you are," but you have spent your entire life becoming who others wanted you to be. You have been shaped by expectations, molded by judgments, carved away piece by piece until what remains is acceptable, digestible, safe. And now you call this mutilated version of yourself your identity. But who are you beneath all of that? Beneath the personas, beneath the roles, beneath the need to be seen a certain way? Strip away what your parents wanted, remove what society demanded, discard what your friends expect, delete what you think you should be. What is left? Most people never ask this question because the answer terrifies them. Because when you remove everything external, when you let go of all the borrowed meaning, you are left with nothing. And this nothing, this void, this absence of predetermined identity is exactly where freedom begins. Nietzsche called this process self-overcoming, not self-improvement, not becoming a better version of the same thing, but a complete transformation, a death and rebirth. He wrote, "You must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. How could you rise anew if you have not first become ashes? But you do not want to burn. You want to evolve gradually. You want comfortable growth. You want transformation without destruction. And that is why you remain stuck. Because real change requires that the old you dies. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, actually dies. The beliefs that defined you must collapse. The identity you defended must shatter. The person you thought you were must be annihilated. And this is where most people turn back. They get to the edge of their own destruction and they retreat. They grab onto the familiar pain. They cling to the comfortable suffering. They choose the known prison over the unknown freedom because at least in prison, they know who they are. At least in chains, there is certainty. Nietzsche saw this, and he understood that most human beings are not interested in freedom. They are interested in comfort. They do not want to become who they are. They want permission to remain who they have been. They do not want to create themselves. They want someone else to tell them who to be. He called these people the last men, people who have given up on greatness, who have settled for safety, who have chosen smallness and called it wisdom. They say, "We have discovered happiness," but their happiness is numbness. Their peace is resignation. Their contentment is death, pretending to be life. Is that you? Have you become the last man? Have you given up on becoming something magnificent because it was too difficult, too uncertain, too dangerous? Have you settled into comfortable mediocrity and convinced yourself that wanting more was immature? Nietzsche would spit at this. He would tell you that the purpose of life is not comfort. It is not happiness. It is not security. It is growth. It is transformation. It is the constant overcoming of what you are to become, what you are capable of being. And this process never ends. There is no arrival. There is no final form. There is only the eternal becoming. This is what he meant by amor fati, love of fate. Not passive acceptance, but active embrace. Not just tolerating what happens, but loving it, choosing it, willing it, even the suffering, even the failure, even the destruction, because all of it is necessary for you to become who you are. But this requires something from you that you have been unwilling to give. The courage to stand alone, the courage to be misunderstood, the courage to be judged, the courage to walk away from everything familiar and comfortable because it is not true, because it is not you. And that is what we will conclude with, what it means to truly own your existence, to stop living for others, and to begin the terrifying, exhilarating work of creating yourself from nothing. Let's finish this. You have reached the end, but this is where the real work begins, because everything you have heard here is useless unless you act, unless you stop reading about transformation and start living it, unless you stop admiring the idea of freedom and start paying the price for it. Nietzsche wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. You are being overwhelmed right now. Every day you are being pulled back into conformity. Every day you are being pressured to be less, to want less, to become less. And every day you make a choice. Will you resist or will you surrender? Most people surrender. They tell themselves they will start tomorrow. They convince themselves they are being practical. They rationalize their cowardice as responsibility. And year by year, they die a little more, until one day they wake up and realize they spent their entire life preparing to live and never actually lived. Do not let this be you. Do not let the opinions of people who settle dictate how far you go. Do not let the judgment of those who gave up determine what you attempt. Do not let the fear of standing alone keep you trapped in a crowd that is going nowhere." Nietzsche's final message was this: "That which does not kill me makes me stronger." But he was not talking about resilience, he was talking about transformation. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to become more than you were. Every moment of suffering is fuel for your self-creation. Every experience of rejection, failure, or loss is a chance to rebuild yourself into something that cannot be broken. But you must choose it. You must will it. You must look at your life with all its pain and difficulty and say, "I would choose this again. I would choose all of it, because this is what made me who I am." That is amor fati. That is freedom. Right now, you have a choice. You can close this video and return to your comfortable suffering. You can go back to pretending. You can continue living the life that was chosen for you. Or you can decide right here, right now, that you are done. Done being small, done being afraid, done being less than what you know you could be. Nietzsche said, "Man is something that shall be overcome. What have you done to overcome him? What have you done? What will you do? Because the life you are living right now is the result of every choice you have made up until this moment. And the life you will live tomorrow depends on what you choose right now. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting to feel ready. You will never feel ready. You will never have permission. The right moment will never come. The only thing that will change is that one day you will run out of time, and all that will remain is regret. If something inside you has awakened while watching this, write in the comments, "I will become who I am." Let's build a community of people who refuse to settle, who refuse to surrender, who refuse to become the last men. And do not stop here. The next video is waiting. This journey of self-overcoming is not a single moment. It is a lifetime. It is every day choosing yourself over comfort, truth over acceptance, becoming over belonging. Do not abandon this work. Your life depends on it. See you in the next one.